his knee. Okay, I've got to stay low, kind of almost like dropping to my knees, chest low, elbow tight, until I can eventually change from this to this, and then begin to stack. In the gi, that's going to be obviously anywhere you can grip along on the far side. If you grip low down, you're going to be locking your elbow. If you grip high, you're going to pinch your shoulder and elbow together and go immediately under the legs to start stacking. Okay, reaching under the hips. Okay, basically, as long as, obviously he's pulling on my arm, I need to be aware of that. I need to keep my elbow behind my hips before I reach down and stack. All right, so the last one we're going through now is just stacking from the mirror guide position in the gi. Okay, this is a gi, pretty much a gi specific move. I anchor my hand high, I anchor on his arm and somewhere on this side of his lapel as well. I'm not as worried about the knee shield here because I can pull my chest forward, okay? I can pull that pressure, and we talked about that earlier, but I can basically do this. Okay, all I wanna make sure is my elbow and knee stay together as I walk forward. Obviously, triangle is still a risk as I drive forward. So my knee should follow my elbow, kind of taking small steps. And you'll see just driving his knee towards his head, lifts his hips, okay? At a certain point, your knee will come under the hips and begin adding to that. Okay, whereas keep walking these little steps forward, it basically lifts his hips up off the ground into a stack. We're now in the stack position. We can check the double unders course and work towards single under to pass. Again, we're in the mirror guy position. We can get, as we enter, we get some sort of grip here. I can even do this with the pant grip. This is often good as well. If you get the pant grip, you can even use that leg to kind of drive forward and pull on both of these too. Okay, so we can do it like that, or I can use my own elbows tight, walking in, knees behind the hips, and my knees lift him up until my chest goes behind the back, and then we can look to pass. All right, so we're now getting into troubleshooting. We'll just go through some of the things that might go wrong and just very quickly how you might be addressing them. So first one, the knee shield. Okay, so he gets the knee shield. Okay, if this does happen, usually I'm gonna bail. Like I don't feel like I'm gonna now throw this leg on my shoulder and continue an under the legs pass at this point. Usually I just don't want to stay here where he's basically working towards some sort of attack. So I'll usually just flick my foot outside the legs, okay, and I'll start trying to turn this into like a knee shield. Sorry, kind of like a low knee shield passing position where my foot's at least outside. I can keep some level of offense going here. But preferably this didn't happen. But again, if he does get that knee in front, okay, I'll often go here, start trying to pass in this point. So how do we stop it happening? Well, head position, okay, so with my head lower than his knee, or my shoulder lower than his knee with some forward pressure here, okay, and then keeping some outward pressure leaning this way to prevent it, okay. I don't want to be starting to pass with my weight out on this side. Almost certainly he pushes, and then the knee shield comes back in. Lastly, obviously in the gi, that forward pressure when we're pulling could make the knee shield very difficult to get. The frames themselves, okay. So, I mean, this is just the basic strategy of this, okay. If he's framing, for example, in a way where I can grab the back of the tricep, I'll use that against it. I'll try to use that to set up that double kneecap or pass towards the front side, okay. Otherwise, if his frames are teamed up on this side, look to go single underhook, okay. If his frame blocks on the outside, look to open the leg and come through, okay. If he starts pushing your knee, make sure you're blocking, okay. If he's doing that, you can just go with it and go underneath the legs too. He's really focused on that. If he's focused on blocking both sides, all right, that's when we might be looking to do some other attacks such as the over-under, where he's trying to push my knee, stop me going around, to the single under. He's now leaving access for my shoulder. Sometimes when you do this, people will actually like hip out, so just do a little hip escape, point your knee to the roof. Yeah, and this obviously messes with it a little bit, okay, so that's probably just not putting enough weight over this top leg. But if he does do that, again, over under, so he starts going here, push this leg, go over under, and or smash pass. Another good one, if I commit too much weight to Aaron, then he might actually off balance me like this. Okay, he scoops his own leg, and he kind of pulls my weight forward. I'm driving in, he scoops, takes my weight, and then redirects it out to the side, which is very difficult for me to follow up on. Okay, so preferably in return, I've got a good base out wide so I don't get taken this way too easily if I feel like that's a threat. Okay, and kind of center your own weight a bit more. Obviously, if we're in the gi and we're driving forward, that's a little different. Okay, now I'm actually taking pressure off this. I'm not driving in with that heavy. He can really load up and off balance me with this knee. So I don't drive in with that knee heavy. If I'm driving in, it's almost extracting that knee to some degree. Okay. Otherwise, just keep your weight kind of lower and heavier. I said hips low, so if he tries to do that off balance now, it should be difficult to do. One thing, if he does do the off balance, you can still try to turn that into, for example, an under the legs pass. You can try to follow it up, but preferably it doesn't happen. Last one's the back roll, so I might go through the pass here and any sort of back roll here. So the main issue there is probably, one, you might have switched base, but probably the other one is just putting your weight, all your weight on the upper body. Okay, as soon as my weight starts, that's when I switch base, that's the same. My weight goes here, his legs, hips can come up, and his frames work well. Okay. So even though we're trying to pass, we're also trying to staple the hips, keeping heavy on the lower body, so the legs can't come in. A little bit of a recap because we already covered this a bit, but if he pushes my knee, tries to free his knee here like this to recover, then we want to be first, making sure our own arm intercepts our knee. You know, use the fact that he's focused on that side to come towards the other side, right? He really has to turn to this side to get that to work. If he's more flat and he's doing this, I'd be thinking he's no longer blocking my shoulder. Yeah. I can come to the overarm. Right? So, and you know, if you really want to get your knee back, he does manage to push. We can try to block, come back inside again. So just replace with your hand, knee goes behind, and comes back in. So summary of the Miragaya position. So basically, we mix this with single under and double underhooks passing. Basically, anytime we get under a leg, we're usually trying to turn them on one side and go to the other side. I'm trying to get one leg vertical. If he really opens up to prevent that, it usually gives me access to the Miragaya position. Okay, so from here we can go through, right? We can go like double knee cut, like other leg coming through, or through in the way that we're going like over under, like this. Or we can go back around should their defenses be here. So just very high level. When he blocks on this side, I go back under. When he blocks access or ability to go around, I come back through. Okay, I want to make sure I always preventing that knee shield going in. That's probably going to be your number one issue you run into. So tilting the hips, squaring the hips up. If I want to go through, I want his hips square to some degree anyway. Okay, once we've got the hips square, so we can go double knee cut, right? Particularly if they're framing the shoulder. If I get access to the tricep, the double knee cut is very good. Okay. If he's blocking a bit lower, my shoulder, he's not blocking my shoulder, then that shoulder is a bit more free. Sorry. Here he's still blocking the shoulder, but I'm going to be going underneath. Okay. But if he's not blocking this shoulder, then we're stepping over the leg, over under position. And there are some other variants of coming around. Maybe we don't want to grab, we feel there's access through, I can't reach the tricep, I can cut across windshield wiper and some other leg, different leg positions. When we're going under, we can just move around and then look to shoot our arm through, but definitely, if possible, we want to get